All right, guys. So we have been looking at all these random listings over the last few videos, and now you are probably antsy and want to figure out, okay, great. Now I know how to look for property. I can get on these websites like Zillow, Landwatch, and wherever, and I can figure out which one that I want. Now, your question is, okay, how do I actually go and buy this piece of land? What is the process? So I'm going to cover this, and there's two ways, okay? And they're basically both very similar, but one is easier and the other one is the traditional the normal way, or the way that people have been used to buying land for a long time. So first we're going to cover the traditional way, which is buying with through a realtor, through Zillow, and how that process works, and then we're going to go into the new way. So first, the traditional way. So how it works is, as you've seen on these websites like Zillow, is you would see the property that you like, you would call the realtor, and then the realtor would give you a tour of the property, or give you the information that you need for you to be ready to start the purchase process. So the next thing is, then you would sign a what's called a purchase agreement between you as the buyer and the seller. So once you sign that purchase agreement, you are under contract. And basically what that means is you have a little bit of time for you to figure out your financing. And these are honestly the financing you should figure out before you even go under contract on a property. So the next thing you would do is, either you would buy it with cash if you have cash and you're willing to spend it on buying your piece of land, or you would have to go figure out another process, like meaning you would try to get a bank loan, which is usually pretty hard to do on land for some reason. Banks really don't like giving loans on land, but they'll give you a loan on a house, or on like on a building. So you would have to figure out your financing, especially if there is no seller financing or owner financing available. You would either have to pay it out cash, or you would have to figure out, like, oh, can I get a private loan or a home equity line of credit loan? And you would have to arrange your financing. So the next thing is, once you figured out your financing, you would move to closing, and then you would have the title company who facilitates the closing, meaning they do the paperwork. If you're buying title insurance, they'll insure the property, and then you're going to have a buyer side attorney and a seller side attorney, depending on the state that you're in. And then it usually takes a little bit of time. It takes about a month if everything moves pretty quickly. And there's a lot of fees involved. So think about it. You have to pay the title company, you have to pay title insurance, realtor fees, which the good thing is it's usually covered by the seller. But you're still gonna have closing costs. You're gonna have to pay for title fees. You're gonna have to pay for insurance, and buyers your attorney fees. So there's more closing fees in the traditional transaction, and it's just been always the way it's been done. It's a longer process, but it's the way it's been done. But then there's the new way, which is how there's hundreds of land companies and private sellers that are selling land directly to new buyers. And that's how our clients buy from our company directly. And I'll show you our process. So the first thing is, they go on our website, and they choose the property that they like. They pick the payment option, meaning, do they want to pay this thing off in cash, and where we just deed the property to them and they are the owner? And if they don't want to put up all that cash, we will offer owner financing, meaning they can choose a payment plan. Pretty much that's what it is. It's a payment plan that says, me as the buyer agrees to paying $100 a month for 36 months. And once that's done, the seller, will transfer the deed to us. And that's done through what's called a land contract. So, a lot of our clients go directly to our website. They pick the property they want. They click buy now, and they select the owner financing option, or they'll pay it off cash. And then once they make their purchase, they'll sign the documents online, which is the land contract. And if they pay it off for cash, we'll just deed it to them. So that's like the newer way and the direct way for people to purchase land. And it doesn't have to be our company. There's other people, like you'll see when you do your research on LandWatch, that are offering it. And that's often directly the seller. You don't have to, go through that old traditional process. The main thing is find the land that you want. And if the company offers owner financing or the seller, then you're able to purchase your property without paying for all these crazy fees. So the next benefit of that is you can start using your land immediately. You don't have to wait till it closes. And like I said before, the only time this becomes a problem is if you try building or developing on the land before you've paid it off. So, if you're like, I'm going to buy it today and in a month, I'm going to pull a building permit and then I'm going to try to build on this land that I'm still making payments on. Most of the time, the seller is not going to be willing for you to do that. So, so if you're doing that, then you have to rethink things. But if you're just like, I'm buying this, so when I pay it off, I'll think about building, or even in sometime in the future, or not at all, then you're fine. So how that works is, yeah, you make your payments, and once you're done making your payments, you receive the recorded deed, and that's it. A lot of our clients, they'll start with one property, they'll pay it off, and then they'll come back, buy another one, and then over the span of time, they own multiple properties, and they don't mess with, they don't have to deal with all these fees and the banks and all that. And they do what's called a ladder strategy, is they'll buy like one property right now, and in 2 years they'll buy another one, and 2 years they'll buy another one, and in 10 years they own 5 properties. Some people do more, some people do less, some people just do one. So that is an overview of the process. And now what we're going to do is we're going to move to what is owner financing. And that's what I'm going to cover in the next video.